Going on, Falcon fan? This your boy Ricondo coming back at you with another video. This is the last video that I'm gonna do for the 2021 season. Look back at what these guys did over the season. Talk about the last game we just had on Sunday against the Saints, against the Aints, and then we'll talk about what I'll discuss coming this off season. Before we get into the video, you guys please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Please hit the like button. Please hit notification bell so you know when I drop another video. Please hit the share button so my video can go out through the YouTube universe so other Falcon fans can come in and share in my glory, my misery, whatever you want to call it, with our beloved Falcons. All right, let's get into the video. So yesterday, it wasn't the outcome that we wanted. Even though we knew we wasn't in the playoff, the game didn't really have any meaning. But you just want to beat the Saints, right? Just want to go out and beat the Saints and be happy about that and ruin their playoff hopes. We did not beat them, so we did not make sure that they didn't get in the playoffs. But they didn't get in the playoffs anyway. So at the end of the day, you know, we happy either way. So I'm gonna go ahead and call some of my fellow Saints fans and tell them to come sit right beside me during the playoffs so we can watch the games together. We all is going to be looking at the playoffs because just like Ricky Bobby, you're not first, you're last. So you just like us, no matter what your record is, no matter how you think you did this season, you're not going to the big dance. You're not going to the big dance. So congratulations on your win yesterday, but guess what? You're gonna be sitting right beside us, you know, looking at the playoffs. So that makes me happy as a Falcons fan. So at least the Saints not going, right? So I really want to get into the game yesterday. 3 turnovers, that's pretty much what happened. Turned the ball over 3 times. We were never really in the game. They ran the ball down our throat. Some of the same old for this season, right? So it's really just about, you know, looking forward to next season. Before we do that though, we need to go back and look at some of the things that the Falcons did this season. In my opinion, I think they overachieved with the roster they had, with the circumstances that we was put in, this new regime, with the salary cap situation that we had, especially with the COVID, pushing the salary cap down to 182 million for the year. That was going to be real difficult. Of course, they had to make a couple of extensions. Not extensions, but restructure with a couple of players to make sure that we can get up on the salary cap. And then we had to go in and pretty much do bargain basement signings through our free agency. And then we had to make sure that we do one last restructure to get our rookie class signed. So it was a lot. This was really an interesting season for these guys, but I really feel like these guys fought all through the season. We had some hiccups. As you guys can recall, Julio Jones decided that he did not want to be with the team anymore, so we put a trade in before the draft. The big discussion, were they going to draft a quarterback or were they going to take the best available player? I think they felt like they had their quarterback in tow, so they went and got Kyle Pitts. We'll talk about his first season in the NFL, his rookie season, how he did. But let's get into some of these stats. What I want to really talk about is just, like I said, these guys won 7 games. They had a 7-10 record. We did not beat any team over 500, but a win is a win. Every team in the NFL is a professional team. And being 7-10, if you give us about a couple of games here or there, we could have had 9 wins. I think we could have won the Carolina game. We probably could have won the Washington football team game. That would have put us at 9, 9-8. Maybe we would have had a chance to get in. You never know how things shakes out. But you are what your records say you are. So we 7-10. We got an 8 pick overall in the draft. But look at some of the stats. So we had 306 first downs. Our opponents had 383, so we lost in that category. First downs. If you look at the rushing, passing, and then the penalties, we had 75 first downs. Rushing, 196 passing, and then we got 35 by penalty. So just if you look at that, third down conversion, our third down conversion was terrible this year. It was at 38% on offense, and then 48% on defense. So if you look at that, 38% on offense, 48% on defense. That's where we really got hurt on third downs. Fourth down, we was more like 41% on offense, and our opposing the teams was like 50%. So teams converted for fourth down 50% of the time against us. That's not good. So like I said, you think about it, we still won 7 games with all these numbers that we're talking about. We still won 7 games with this. We had 1,451 rushing yards, which is not that good. We want to at least have over 1,500 rushing yards, maybe 1,600 to get us where we need to be. Total passing yards, if you want to factor in the sacks, we had 3,713 yards. Of course, Matt Ryan had about 3,968, but like I said, you factor in the sacks, you have to factor in the that negative yard for the sack. So we finished with 3,713 passing yards. Our opponents finished with 3,952, which is not that bad. So I feel like we improved in our passing game. But if you look at our rushing defense, we gave up 2,242 rushing yards throughout the season. So, like I said, I feel like they ran the ball down our throat this season. One of the glaring stats that I think one of the most embarrassing stats that we really have to look into the offseason is the sacks. We had 18 sacks this season as a team. That's 1 sack per game almost. That's sad. 18 sacks. And you guys remember, it's some players in this league had more sacks than that as an individual on one individual team. We gave up 40 sacks. I think that's is actually a little bit less than I expected based on looking at our offensive line play. Even though Matt Ryan was hit the most time this season, the most hit quarterback this time, he was able to get rid of the ball a lot of times because he only got sacked 40 times. That's still not good, but at the same time, I thought it was going to be actually more than 40 times. And we only had 33 touchdowns as a team. That's not good at all. We gave up 55 touchdowns. So just looking at the stats, in my opinion, just looking at the stats, if you read off those stats I just talked about, those stats does not correlate into 7 wins. I really don't know how we managed to squeak out 7 wins, but we did. I think that's a testament to the players playing their heart out, leaving it all out on the field, to the coaching staff, getting these guys, developed. And then some of our key players like AJ Tyrell, having a great stellar season. I thought maybe one of the best cornerbacks in the league this year, even though he didn't get the Pro Bowl nod. Foyo Olokun lead the leading tackles, 192. 101 of those was solo tackles. So good season for him. Deion Jones ended with 137 tackles, 85 solo. And some people thinking Deion Jones had a down year. So, but if you just look at some of the bright spots for that, Foyo Olokun also had 3 interceptions this year. So hopefully we'll be able to keep that guy. I think he's only trending up as a player. So hopefully we can be able to keep Foyo Olokun in the season. We'll look at Russell Gage. Russell Gage had 770 yards, almost to the 1,000-yard mark if you want to look at that. But he did miss a couple of games. But I thought Russell Gage came on later on in the season, started being that number 1 receiver that we needed. But of course, our number 1 receiver was our rookie tight end, Kyle Pitts, who was a couple of yards short from breaking the rookie tight end record, which most people felt like it wouldn't have mattered anyway because Mike Ditka played 14 games. Kyle Pitts would have did in 17 games. So tomato, whatever. But he still had a great season. 1,000 yards for a rookie tight end. Learning all those different positions that they had him playing. He just was not on the line. He was playing multiple positions. He was in the slot. He was on the end. I thought they lined Kyle Pitts up all over the field. Everybody knew he was our number one target, and he still had over 1,000 yards. We definitely got to be able to get him in the end zone more next year, but that's what we got to do with that. My leading rusher was Cordell Patterson, a receiver turned running back who actually led us in rushing. I don't know what they to say about Mike Davis, who we brought in and thought was going to be our bell cow. They paid him $5 million for 2 years. Interesting to see what they're going to decide to do with him moving on into next season as well. So those are just some of the highlights of some of our players that I think that we could probably move forward with. Of course, I didn't mention Grady Jarrett. Grady Jarrett taking double teams and triple teams all season. All our rookies that contributed this year. Okendeji, we had Richard Grant, we had Kyle Pitts, we had Darren Hall, we had Avery Williams, we had Jalen Mayfield, who really need to get in the lab and make sure that he could better himself throughout this year. I am proud of Jalen Mayfield. He played every game this season except the last game. He didn't play this last game, but Jalen Mayfield actually had a interesting season, to say the least. We got pieces to work with. Frank Darby did not get a lot of run, but it's interesting to see what Frank Darby going to be able to do moving forward. Because actually, right now, guys, only 2 receivers is actually on the contract next year. That's Calvin Ridley and Frank Darby. So all those other receivers, Lamar Kids, Christian Blake, Charjay Sharp, Russell Gage, none of those guys they all free agents. So we're just interested to see how many of those guys that the Falcons bring back. I would say maybe Russell Gage. Other guys might need to go find another home. I don't feel like they contributed a lot, but we had to work with those guys. Maybe the Alum Days of Kids, maybe. But I know for a fact the Falcons have to look into bringing in a new wide receiving core, either in the draft or in free agency, to help out the passing game. Guys, Christian Lindstrom was our right guard, who the only guard in the league that did not give up a sack this year. So that's saying a lot. So between Christian Lindstrom and Jake Matthews, who's one of the best left tackles, who really kind of fly up under the radar with his production that he has as well. Between Jake Matthews and Christian Lindstrom, we have 2 pieces on the offensive line that we could build on. Of course, we still need to make a decision on our left guard spot, the center spot. Matt Hennessy had his ups and downs, as well as Jalen Mayfield and Caleb McGarry. So it's going to be very interesting to see what these guys decide to do with the offensive line. Like I said, Matt Ryan was the most hit quarterback this season. They only gave up 40 sacks, but still, you don't want your 37-year-old quarterback getting hit that many times. We got to be able to protect the passer, and we got to be able to establish the run game. Like I said, we ran for over about 1,450-some yards. We got to be able to do better than that. Moving forward, we got to be able to pass the ball. But like I said, guys, if you just look at it in its totality this season, it was a successful season because of everything that we had to deal with. I don't think nobody expected Calvin Ridley to only play 5 games this season. Beginning of the year, I know when the offseason started, nobody expected Julio Jones to not be on the team. So between Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, we lost Isaiah Oliver, which is a big loss because I thought he was picking his stride up, playing that nickel role for Dean Pease defense, and he was actually shining in it at the time. So it's interesting to see what they're going to do with Isaiah Oliver this year. I think he's going to be a free agent as well. We can't keep everybody. We have to let somebody go. But I did mention Taquan Graham, another rookie. I thought he was a little bright spot that we had as well this offseason. But the two things that I think the Falcons definitely need to work on this season, this offseason, and that's the defensive line. So we got to fix the trenches. We have to get somebody beside Grady Jarrett to be able to don't move. Somebody we want to put in that spot. Somebody in the spot that instead of Grady Jarrett, who's a smaller defensive tackle taking on 3 blockers, we want a bigger guy. Somebody's over 300 pounds to be able to take those tackles when they start to block. He don't move out of spot. Could we get Jordan Davis? We got them 8 overall pick. Could Jordan Davis be that guy? We never know. We have to see. We also got to work the pass rush, guys. 18 sacks. We can't depend on pressure. We can't depend on blitzing to get pressure, because if you don't get home, you blitz. You're just leaving your secondary out to dry. We got to be able to do something with that. So we got to fix our pass rush. We got to fix the defensive line and trenches. Of course, we got to fix the offensive line issues. Maybe those guys get better next year. But I know for a fact that these guys going to have to look real deep and see if these guys are the guys that they want to continue with to run their offense and this offensive line. They have to look deep, because I don't think you can go another year if you don't think these guys can get better. You're going to have to make some decisions on some of those offensive line spots. We need a running back. We definitely need to go get a running back. Preferably we get a running back in the draft instead of trying to go pick up some free agent running back out there. Just go draft a running back. Of course, we talked about we need receivers. We need another cornerback. So yes, we need a lot of spots filled on this team. One thing we do know, that the team that we had this year is going to be a lot different than the team we have next year, because I think they have to fill about 26 spots on the roster. So it's going to be a fairly new team once again. Hopefully we keep some of the continuity there. So these 2 schemes that we just put in place, some of these guys can help some of the newer guys come in and learn these schemes. So in a nutshell, guys, that's 2021. I really believe that we overachieved this season. I hope you are wondering what you guys think about that. We went 7 wins. We got the 8 overall pick. I know you heard reports about they're going to stick with Matt Ryan moving forward. So just going to be interesting to see what happens with the rest of the team, what they're going to do with Grady Jarrett. I think we got about $13 million and projected salary cap this year. Of course, that's not going to be enough to sign 26 players, so we're going to have to kind of figure out some things. I anticipate some extensions. Right now, you can extend Grady Jarrett. You can extend Matt Ryan. That would definitely help with some of our contract woes. See, can we get some kind of team-friendly deal from Foye Oluokun? Definitely want to see him back, but we just have to see what happens with that. If some team come calling for, to throw the bag at him, throw the Brinks truck at him. If they do that, we're going to probably lose him. We do have Michael Walker to take up some slack, but I really like the way Foye played this year, so we just have to see what happens with Foye. So guys, that's all I'm going to talk about today. We'll definitely be coming back here soon to talk about the rest of the off season. So the plan is to go. I think I'm gonna go position by position, and look at the free agencies. looking at free agents that's out there, potential free agents that's out there. Then look at some of the draft. It's kind of early in the draft, but it's some prospects that's out there that we can already start looking at and see, can we kind of figure out these holes that the Falcons need. We don't know. You really don't know, because you don't know who they're going to re-sign for that depth, and then you don't know who they're going to bring in free agents. So when you're looking at the draft class, it's kind of hard to kind of figure out the direction the team going to go, because who they bring in the free agency and who they re-sign. So we just have to look and see their needs. We do know that Terry Fontenot believe in best player available, so that's going to be interesting to see. Even if he do sign a free agent, even if he do re-sign somebody in a certain position, if the best player available in that position is up on the board, will he still pick that position? So that's time going to tell about that. But that's what he said. He's best player available. So we'll just have to see how that rolls out when the time comes. We really don't know how many draft picks we got. It's gonna be interesting to see how many compensatory picks that we get this year as well. But whatever we do, we know we're gonna be younger, and hopefully we could kind of establish some kind of foundation that we from this year to be better next year. So but guys, just stand by. We're gonna talk all off season. I'm excited about it. I know this was one of our disappointing seasons, but we overachieved. So was it really disappointing? Because a lot of people probably didn't have us winning this many games. Personally, I estimated this team, because I had this team winning about 10, 11 games, maybe 10 games. If you go back and look, I can't even really call, but I remember I was just going down each of the rookie quarterbacks and saying we should beat that team, we should beat that team. But I didn't realize how bad we were until I started watching the game. So, and that's how football is. You don't know until you know. So, but these guys do have something to build off of. So good first season for the Arthur Smith, Terry Fontenot regime. I'm really excited to see where these guys go for moving forward, and I'm really looking forward to talking to you guys all through the off season, get ready for 2022. So like I said, guys, this is your boy Ricondo, a real Falcon fan, come back at you with another video. Peace.